Well, just as a reminder, I guess as much to ourselves as anything, this is the ship we're on for this cruise, the Holland and America Western Arm. Well, this morning we arrived in the port of Toyama and we've been brought on a shuttle bus through to Toyama. It's an odd sort of town, again with childhood images around. Well, one of the first features we came to is the Great Buddha of Takaoka. He stands 16 metres tall and weighs 65 tonnes. And he's one of Japan's tallest Buddhas, highest Buddhas. And this is the shrine alongside Buddha. And a short walk from there leads through to the old castle park. We're told there is no castle here anymore, it's just the grounds it used to be in all them years ago. Another shrine with its torii gate entrance. We're going to investigate this as well. And walking into the grounds here, a couple of locals' dogs, very fancily dressed. Well, it is Sunday today, probably because of that. A lot of local Japanese people out, enjoying the cherry blossom which abounds here. Well, it's definitely bringing them out, this cherry blossom. And with it, this great picnicking tradition. They love sitting under the cherry blossom, having a picnic, even though it's only, well, it's 11:30 in the morning. A game of cards going on with this family in front of me here. Probably having snap, but who knows. Well, statues abound in Japan. First we're seen of the famous sumo wrestlers. There's an image of a swan wrapping itself around this lady here, and next to it a male statue, and here, I don't know, maybe a shogun warrior, and the ever-present Japanese bridge. And in the water under the bridge here, golden carp. And nearby there's a lot of street food stalls selling sort of buns here. It looks like some octopus based dishes here as well. And here seems to be a noodle and bacon pancake, so I'll talk to you, flip it over. Oh yeah, she's done that before. It's interesting. There goes another one. Yay! And then quite bizarrely within this complex, it's sort of a bit of a zoo, complete with some penguins and some flamingos, but this is really quite a dreadful zoo. This section of the lake, we have both a few ducks there and some grey heron in the branches of the tree overhanging the water. Away from that complex, we found the route through to the evacuation area, which is adjacent to this chap keeping an eye on us. Well, these bronzes everywhere are really quite both amusing and astonishing. And a load more outside a place called Wing Wing. Well, we've taken another trip now on a shuttle bus through to the Shokoji temple, which dates from 1584. It's a great example of Japanese roofing here, which is made from cypress tree bark. This is a Calamon style gate because of its design and shape. It apparently originated in Kyoto and was transported here or relocated here, and that leads through to the main temple, which is used as a point to pray at. It was originally built in traditional style, which is really quite elaborate. This is not an offertory bowl, and I stepped inside the temple. Well, information about the place is a bit scant, but as ever, these places are just works of art, particularly with these gilded screens.
No, please.
And central to this, of course, is a Buddha.
Yeah, you can take care.
Well, I've ended up with an interpreter who's trying to explain what all these rooms are for. This is a meeting room and it's of national importance. So this room is used by the more senior people, I think, is what she's trying to say. So the simple wooden line across the floor divides the people from the more important people beyond. The room we're looking at here is the waiting room. The ones we were in were the meeting rooms. They look the same, but they have different purposes. Well, these artwork screens are part of presumably a wedding ceremony. It's usually the bridal people come in here and get separated by the screens, but they're nice works of art. And the higher status people were entitled to use this room, which is the gold room. Well, the explanation through the interpreter has been very hard to understand, but the design is really interesting. The roofs here are made of cedar wood, overlapping obviously. And when we arrived in this port at Toyama this morning, we had this rather odd greeting of scrap metal.
Please, a round of applause. Following day we arrived
arrived into the port of Sakata, and as ever there's quite an activity on the quayside awaiting the ship's arrival. At the moment we're still just drifting in, but there's a whole series of pop-up marquees, tents, things for us to go through. Coaches beginning to arrive for the shuttles and the trips that take place. And the guys down here are waiting for the first of the ropes to be thrown across to tie us to the mainland. Right, well, the first feed rope has just been thrown and caught. And now this ridiculously narrow little rope is being hauled in. Coming up behind it is the much bigger one. It's like going fishing, really. Right, that's safely over the whatever you call them things, number 4. That's now tension from the ship side to haul us in. And that's the next 2. Oh, this is obviously a big Japanese thing. Not only do we get a farewell drum send off, we get a welcome drum roll as well. Behind them, waddling into position, are the 2 sort of Japanese doll. They feature quite a bit in Japan. Well, this little lot are out here to greet us. Those 2 characters, plus some of the geisha women. All these pop-up tents around the port arrival area, and these really quite beautiful kimonos on sale. This one is a bargain at 250,000 yen, so that's $250,000 yen. Also has some local foods available to taste. I've already had a bowl here of the tamoni soup and these squid-based gel balls, which are an acquired taste, let's put it like that. This has been going on for well over an hour, in fact nearly 2 I think now. Well, as with all towns, they're really most welcoming. So we've caught the bus into Sakata, and there's all manner of goodies. There's rice crackers, which are a local speciality. Some really interesting looking sushi dishes on that next stall, and a homemade cake stall beyond. On the ground, with local music in the background, we have some more manhole covers, beautifully presented. And the tiles on the floor in character format like this. And some more beautiful costumes available. Interesting combination of both Japanese and English everywhere. This one is a soup shop, including fruit salad soup and apple and pumpkin soup. But the one oddity in Japan is everywhere is neat, tidy and precise, except for all the electricity wires everywhere. Got a short walk from the centre, following these signs. We found our way to sort of the river, more of a canal I think, which we're just going to walk along the side of to the Sankyo Soko rice storehouse. But they're so welcoming here, they've actually put up around town all these signs to ensure that we off the ship get to all the places we want to get to. With helpful signs that say go straight. And on the way we're literally just hanging over somebody's garden fence wall here, looking into their quite impeccable garden. Well, these are old rice storage warehouses, and we were told on the ship before we came to walk around to the back of them, which we have done, because the substantial trees provided essential shade for the rice during the storage process. And adjacent to that rice storage area is this Sankyo Inari shrine. And when the rice houses, storehouses were constructed back in 1893, 2 pillars were taken to here to create this shrine. Apparently, unless you're a god, you're not allowed to walk up the middle. Oh well, perhaps this lady thinks she's half a god.
Little things.
Oh, she's just made an offering into the door there for descending. Shaking the bell, bowing. Oh, that's it. And the tree above us, this bird of prey, not quite sure which one. As soon as I stop he'll start again. But the rice storage buildings are now derelict and abandoned, kind of a shadow of their former self. And in front of the warehouse area is, we believe it to be the old manager's house, complete with some immaculate trees. And these boats, called Cockeye boats, were built to transport goods on the Mogami River underneath. They were used to transport the rice to market and could hold, it says 250 here, whether that's, can't be tons, that would seem a bit too much, but and 4 passengers. Then came across more characters, including these 2 having a bit of a fight. And this guy enjoying a bit of a smoke. Well, this represents how the rice was brought to the warehouses all those years ago, including this chap with the pained expression. I think these 2 probably got shipwrecked and are worried about their future.
Ah, thank you. Do you read?
And these 3 represent Japan's rural poor area. And this was prepared for a festival in 1765. And these are Hina dolls, and on March the 3rd every year a pair, male and female, are placed together to wish for happiness and good health of the young girls. And this is a kasafuku, which is an umbrella of good fortune. There's quite a variety of different lacquerwork items on sale here. From there we took a walk over this more traditional style wooden bridge over the canal. As we walked away, we walked through a residential area with some interesting house styles, gardens and cars. Still seeing lots of these tiny little box square cars, really. Very odd looking things. And then another temple and torii gate. All dotted around the town are what are called historical Homa residences, and this is the entrance to one of them. Literally just a couple of metres away from that street. We're just in a garden of peace and tranquility again, as is so common out here. Inside are the traditional rooms with the matting where you have to take your shoes off, so we're deciding not to bother doing that.
In that case, I won't be going.
Well, green park space is important to all cities, and this one's no exception. Come through to Toyama Park, complete with its own temple and a fearsome dragon guarding the entrance. Well, the park wasn't up to quite so much, but the temples and torii gates are more interesting. Well, from a viewpoint in the park, I'm actually looking across the city now, directly at a snow-capped mountain range, but it's really quite hazy. I'm not sure how much the camera is in fact picking this up. Let's have a quick zoom and see if it improves. Again, through the viewfinder, I'm not sure I can see it with the naked eye. Let's hope I've captured it as well. Well, oddly, we seem to be a reasonable way inland in this park. Yet there's a wooden lighthouse. Probably its history dates back a long time before the port development at the front there. Well, I've now established this old lighthouse was moved here in memory of its good work closer out to sea over 63 years. It actually says on the sign, was moved here in memory of its good work for 63 years. Well, in a sense it's lunchtime, and this park is actually full of lots of people, but particularly lots of school children. I mean, it is midday on Monday, but there's all sorts of street food vendors plying their ways in booths all around the park here. And guess where the most popular queue was? Outside the French fry stall. These are all chocolate bananas. And this guy's clearly done this lots of times before. It's quite an impressive technique he's got to turn whatever these things are around to cook some more. Well, I think we've established that all of these pop-up eateries are all in celebration of the Cherry Blossom Festival, which here, being a bit further north, is not fully out yet. It's rather grotesque looking fish hanging here. It's been pickled in salt for a week, it's left to dry and mature for a year, it's then cut into thin slices and you enjoy it as a snack with alcohol. Yum yum. Well, here's another attempt at the snow-capped mountains. I stood on the upper deck at the back of the ship now, and there's a very distinct tree line, and there's good snow levels both above and beneath those trees, so looks very inviting. So this is life aboard a ship on a sunny afternoon on the west coast of Japan. Anyway, outside the ship there's this chap who's got some impressive tricks to play. Oh. I think that's it, that's his repertoire done. And then for his next trick, quite how long this will take. Oh, not far off. waving us cheerio again. This is slightly better than the drums we had last night. And therefore that dance and everything ends our day in Sakata. Just looking out now across to the industrial area, and for us the main attraction, which is the mountain peak. It's available to climb up, walk up effectively from June each year onwards, covered in snow at the moment. There's no skiing or anything there, but it's a great destination and very popular with local people, we're told, nonetheless. Well, the following was a day at sea, and it turned out to be a day of very rough seas. And it's very cold with it, and the wind is howling. We've got 2 to 3 metre waves all around. Impressive. But by the following day, everything had changed completely. We're a lot further north now, and we're just landing. It's still just after 6 in the morning in the township of Ataru, and already I'm looking at snow-capped mountains nearby. It is quite cold outside, and with it our local downhill ski slope. Well, the theme of snow continued as we left the port, and whilst we're heading up to a peninsula to do a walk, there's plenty of snow-capped peaks around and snow on the ground, quite recent snow. You not only get sake here in Japan, but also the local brand of whiskey, which is supposed to be very good. We carried on north up the coast.
So and if you have any questions, please ask. And talking about the sign, so I think you've already noticed that there are...
Well, the whole thing about today was to come and do a walk along a coast path. And as you can see, we've arrived in a car park where there's nobody else here at all, other than our own coachload of fellow passengers. And this is the track we're about to go on, all blowing in the wind, and I think that's what it'll be today. Well, it's certainly quite a dramatic coastline, certainly very windy, and recently cold, although we've got lots of sunshine, views to the mountains. And what is, we're now told, a walk which is 770 metres long. Quite what we expected when we on. Well, the lighthouse and the Kamsui Rock is what we'll be walking out along towards shortly. There we are, our goal ultimately. But first we can enjoy the rugged coastline in both directions. And indeed beneath us, lots of rock stacks along this coast. We saw a few from the 1.5 hour coach journey to get us here as well. Although the snows have only recently gone, already there's some butterbur beginning to emerge as new growth for this season. The seas around here are rich in sea life, and we're told that both herring and sea urchin are regularly One element of surprise is the amount of flotsam and jetsam litter down on the beach here. Well, it's a straightforward enough route. There's quite a little bit of up and down to do to go with it. Clearly of volcanic origin. Cliff edge, so the state liberated. As we progressed, we've got some great views looking back to the Japan Alps and coastlines in both directions. I reached the end of the path and enjoying the views out to this stack. bird feces stained rocks. Well, we returned back to the port along the coastline. Really quite beautiful at times, and still with a bit of snow on the hillside in the background there. One of the reasons for stopping here is to enjoy yet another rock stack. I reckon this one represents a dog. If you look closely at the top of it, you can just about make out two eyes, offset mouth and a bit of a nose. It's a bit obscure, but never mind. It's a bit difficult, but right on the very top of that stack, I'm on maximum zoom here, so this is not easy, but there is actually a sea eagle. Well, from there we returned to the ship for a late lunch. Sitting out on the open upper deck, and whilst it's still quite cold, as you'll see from the snow, the spectacular views all around Otaru are really superb. A lovely place. And then, as with all the ports we visit, there's a big farewell celebration. A lot of town folk come out, quite a lot of families with kids, and the inevitable drum playing, getting quite used to this now. Well, it's another day. It's now Thursday the 11th of April. It's another port of call called Hakodate. Well, once we disembarked the ship, we caught a local tram and we're going through to an area where there should be some hot springs. Well, once off the tram, which turned out to be fairly easy to negotiate, we followed Google Maps to find our way to the hot spring gardens. We carried on for a little way through this confluence of watercourses to find these rather strange steps leading to seemingly nowhere, or from nowhere. Well, we found the place. It's called a tropical garden, and paid our 600 yen entrance fee to get in. And whilst it's a bit zoo-like, it's definitely, we have found the snow monkeys. And they're famous for bathing in the hot springs in cold weather, and kind of that's what they're doing. So it's not quite the wild environment we were hoping for, but I guess this is better than nothing at all. Several local people, tourists as well, throwing bits of food at these guys, and these guys are sort of trying to attract attention to get the food. This one's having its early morning hot bath.
If a lot of keel remains at the time a meal is served, it means that the monkeys are over, but they really love mochi, which are rice cakes, and dango, which are rice dumplings.
I thought he was going to jump in the water. He decided to sit on the side.
The strongest monkey fear of retaliation. If a strong monkey notices that a weaker monkey has
lowered himself into the water there.
Rush to the weaker monkey.
Hanging on to the side.
The weaker monkey will soon run away, leaving the food for the stronger monkey to enjoy at its leisure. This kind of mistake in 2008, when a visitor tried to throw food at the monkey,
Now apparently not all the monkeys like these hot springs, only some of them go in, others prefer to stay out, which might make some look very skinny and some look really quite hairy.
Their coats return to normal. The older the monkey, the longer it takes, however. Monkeys often chew on wood to sharpen their fangs. They sometimes chew on the playground swings and other equipment and destroy them.
你就会知道你给的太多了。我喜欢菠萝和香蕉，而且喜欢带皮吃。我从不吃的一面是蘑菇。 你能闻到吗？有些猴子吃辛辣、芳香的食物，如萝卜和大葱。强壮的猴子通过获得足够的食物来吃饭，其他猴子永远不会从更强壮的猴子那里偷食物，因为我害怕遭到报复。当较弱的猴子碰巧吃了一些美味的东西时，较强的猴子注意到了这一。
Several making gestures for food, and folk are throwing food over to them, and they're actually quite adept at catching, like that. Pretty skilled animals, these. A bit of preening going on here as well. Knitting out. Fortunately, there's more to this place than just the snow monkeys. And as we've seen elsewhere in Japan, everything is immaculately looked after by, well, there's 5 people here just doing a bit of weeding of stuff that doesn't look like it needs weeding. And then in this area here, I found whatever the collective noun is for a load of terrapins. The group will do. There he is again, in case you couldn't work out where his head was on the last shot. Very cheesy music in the background for us to enjoy this environment in. Well, we've just come up a few steps in this tropical house, and it's got a bee up here. It feels like it's nearly 40 degrees. Well, that's it, we've done the snow monkeys now, and I've got to say, the environment they're in, this urban jungle, is not quite what we thought it would be, but never mind, we've seen snow monkeys. And we're pretty close to Hakodate Airport by all accounts. Well, we retraced our steps to the tram terminal. This tram terminal is kind of in the middle of nowhere, and the return tram is just pulling into this terminus stop now. This is a modern tram. Well, we got off the tram and did a short walk through here to the Goryokaku Tower, which we're about to go up to get a view around the city. Well, 1,000 yen each later, we're at the top of that tower, looking down on the Goryokaku star-shaped park with this moat all around it. Quite impressive, but no cherry blossom, we're too far north for that now. A few snow peaks out to the, well, I don't know what direction that is, I'll call it north, it might be something quite different. Well, later we may or may not actually, there's no blossom out. We could head up and have a wander around there. But we can enjoy first the views in 360 direction from on top of this tower. Looking out to obviously south now to the coast. Just spied our ship, that's in dock as well. And so just looking a little bit further out now, I'm thinking this is out to the west now. And then there is the inevitable see-through floor with my foot on it. Occasionally the translation gets a bit out of kilter. This is a crub at bund. There's plenty of bits of history to soak up if you're that way inclined. It's not quite as clear to us though. Well, in the early afternoon we caught a tram a bit further around to the bottom, in fact, of what they call cableway or something. Anyway, it's a cable car, but the height isn't much greater than that which we're at. And we'd already walked quite a long way to the up the hill to the bottom of the cable car. But this is also part of the historic and cultural area with some different religion churches around. This is a Christian, we believe, the Catholic Church. Well, that's the cable car ascending. Now we've got a more interesting looking shrine ahead of us here. As the down cable car descends over the rooftops. And a maze of wires again. Nearby is a Greek Orthodox church, but the entrance is not on the side I'm at the moment. I'm going to correct myself. What I said before is slightly incorrect. This is the Russian Orthodox Church. But we chose not to venture in because it's both no shoes and no photos inside. But as explained here, it originated in 1855 and was developed further in 1872. Google Translate can do the rest. And just beyond that is a feature called the Hashimandaka Slope. We were told there were big broad roads here leading down to the port, and slap bang in the middle is our ship. Quite a way to walk back though. This whole historic area is called Motomashi and contains a number of colonial style buildings. They look a lot more modern than that to us at the moment. Of the various places we're walking past, this one claims to be a coffee shop, but it says it's closed. Well, the shrine just up here is called the Funadharma Jinja and was originally built in 1135. Not a lot to see. A slightly garish building here is in fact the old Hakodate Public Hall, and was completed in 1910 as the previous building had been destroyed by fire in 1907, when in fact 12,000 places around here, nearly half the city in its day, were destroyed. And so from up here we're able to just look back down across the port through to the ship, and the tower we were up earlier sticking up above the ship on the perspective we're looking at currently, on a day where the sun has disappeared again. On back to these bronze statues again, which are everywhere in Japan. Brown bear and baby, and a young lad with his pet dog, owl on a tree, and a young girl sitting on a rock, as well as Mary sitting on the bear's head. Well, amongst this historic area is the old British consulate, established in 1859. On our way back we walked adjacent to these red brick old warehouse buildings, now used as a retail therapy place, but big important warehouses in their day in the past. You can also take one of these rides if you fancy it. Oh, he's getting tied up around there here. Right by there was this kind of Japanese diner. And there we are, last look back over old Hakodate and the port.
Hello there.
Well, our last day at sea, there's quite a lot of fun and frivolity and activities and music and the waiting staff. This is up on the Lido deck, walking around singing to us. Well, on board the ship, of course, it's all bright lights and a bit of glamour. These are the lift doors. There's the inevitable array of shops, as well as several bars dotted around the place, and a not too ostentatious central atrium area. The main restaurants are large and spacious, mostly at the rear of the ship, facing with good views out. There are several images around, which are a bit surprising, and some rather odd ornaments in odd locations. Put candles on this and you'll burn the ship down, I think. There are several smaller venues that come alive of an evening. This is called the Rolling Stones Lounge, and a live band plays most nights. And there's an oversized casino area. And then at our final supper, amongst the assembled company here, we're yet to order our food. I'm Mr. Terry, who's on my left here. So it's Terry, Judy, Max, Isabel, Bruce, Stella and Mary, and of course me. And last but not least, me as well. And then here comes our dinner. And tonight's meal started with a sushi dish for me and a crab cake for Mary. It was followed by a piece of prime rib steak, a piece of barramundi fish for Mary, and then to finish a raspberry cheesecake tart or a hazelnut mousse with rum, yeah? Yeah. And then on the last night you get this sort of rendition from the waiting staff. They're just looking for a little gratuity, really.